if you want to fence, I know why I decided to start from fencing. Fencing will be much easier for you to understand, because after fencing, I will also go into different designs of building. But from today, I will start from fencing, because fencing will be much easier for you. Now, for you to fence piece of land like this, you should be able to understand the quantity of blocks you need for this 36 meters. And here we have 18. Now, this 36 by 18 meters, you should be able to know how many blocks that will cover this 36 meters and how many blocks that will cover this 18 meters. Before I go into the calculation, in blocks, we do have 150 by 150 by 450 mm. And we also have 225 by 450 mm. Now, the 150 by 450 mm blocks is the one we call 6 inches blocks. And this 225 by 450 mm blocks is the one we call 9 inches blocks. So why I decide to break it down this way is for you to understand, so that as we are calculating, you will know that yes, I know what I'm saying. Now, if you are fencing with 150 by 450 mm blocks, you should be able to know how many number of blocks that will cover this 36 meters and how many that will cover this 18 meters. So by calculation, for you to fence 36 meters by 80 meters blocks, which is also a piece of land, which is also called 120 by 60 feet, you have this 36 meters will take about 72 pieces of blocks. Why the 18 meters will take about 36 pieces of blocks. Now, if you are to calculate it now, if we have 72 pieces this left side and we have 72 pieces this right side, which is 144, yes, and we have 36 here, which is, if you add it together, that will give you 180. Now, if we have 72 here and 36 here, which is 180 pieces. Now, what do we have this front here? We are not going to cover the front simply because there's going to be a space for gates. And for you to leave space for gates, at least you need to leave 5 meters. Now, if you remove 5 meters from 18, you will be having about 13 meters left. 13 here. We're having about 13 meters. If you have 13 left, how many blocks will cover these 13 meters? If you calculate it, this 150 by 450, you'll be getting about 25 blocks here. So generally, for you to lay one coaches right around this particular one plot of land, you need to calculate it all together. 72, 144 plus 36, 180. If you add this 25, you'll be getting about 205 blocks. So 205 blocks can be able to go this one plot of land right round. Now, if you have 205 right round, the number of blocks it will now take from ground to top will determine how many coaches you want the fence to be. Now, a lot of people don't like high fencing, and some do. If you want your fence to be like 10 coaches, then you should be able to multiply this. You should be able to multiply this 205 by 10. that will give you 2050 blocks. But if you want it 12 coaches, then you should be able to also multiply 205 times 12. It will give you 2460 blocks. Now, this is the number of blocks we can use to fence this one plot of land if you want it 12 coaches. Mind you, this calculation is based on normal level ground. It's not applicable on a slopy ground, because if you are fencing on a slopy ground, the valley side, the downside, take much number of coaches than the hillside. So this calculation is based on a normal level ground. Now, block aside. Secondly, for you to fence this plot of land, you will also need cement. And let me tell you, when it comes to cement, a lot of people don't know that there's a particular number of blocks a bag of cement can set. Yes, and there's also number of headpans or buckets of sand that you can use to mix one bag of cement. The normal mixture for one bag of cement, when you want to use headpans to measure, is 12 headpans per bag. And when you measure these 12 headpans per bag, when it comes to settings, then that 12 headpans of sand and one bag of cement should be able to set at least 70 blocks. If you are setting 150 by 450 blocks, one bag of cement will set 70 pieces of blocks for you. But if you are setting 225 by 450 blocks, then one bag of cement will set 50 blocks for you. So, but we are working on 150 by 450 blocks. So now let's calculate it. If one bag of cement we set 70 pieces of blocks, now how many we set 2460 blocks? Let's now calculate it. 70 times 10 is 700, times 20 is 14, times 30 is 21. Then if 30 bags we set 2100 pieces of blocks, then the remaining 360, how many blocks we set? You then calculate 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, approximately, plus or minus 35 bags of cement should be able to set this 2460 blocks. Now, if 35 bags we set the blocks, then there is what we call blinding. Blinding comes after the digging of the foundation, before the setting. Now, for you to also blind this 36 meters by 18 meters piece of land, you also need to calculate how many bags of cement that can be able to go round. And for you to blind this with at least 4 inches thickness, you will need plus or minus 3 bags of cement on this 36, 3 bags of cement, 3 bags of cement on this 36, yes, 3 bags of cement here, and 1.5 bag here, and 1.5 bag here. So we need total of 9 bags of cement to blind this right round on a 4 inches thickness. And meanwhile, you should also know that the mixture of sand and cement when you want to blind, and the mixture of sand and cement when you want to set blocks, it differs. They are not the same. If you use 12 headbands to measure sand, to mix the sand for settings, then for casting, you have to reduce it from 12 head pounds to 8 head pounds on a solid ground. If you want to get a good result, you should be able to reduce it from 12 to 8, because you are still going to add granites to it. So, and for you to get a very solid blinding, you reduce it from 12 to 8. Then, apart from this, not this 9 bag of cement, we need granite for this blinding. And to get the quantity of granite that can be able to run this blinding, plus or minus, you will need 2 tons of granite. Yes, 2 tons of granite. Now, we have gotten the number of blocks that can fence this land. We have gotten the number of cement that can set the block. We have gotten the numbers of cement that can run the blinding. And we have gotten the quantity of granite also that can be able to run this blinding. Now, what else remains? The installation of the gates. So, for you to also install the gates here, on this remaining space, this 5-meter space that remain here, you will need 3 lengths of 12 mm or 16 mm iron rod, depending on your choice. One length of this rods, whether 16 or 12, is about 39.6 feet. When divided by 4 for each pillar, you'll be getting about 9.8 feet. Now, you use one length on this left pillar, you use the other one on the right pillar. Then, the remaining one length of iron rod, you pieces it, maybe 2 feet, used for mats. The mat is placed at the bottom of the pillar, at the base of the pillar. So it's the mat that carries the pillar. Now, apart from the 3 lengths that will be used for the pillar and the mat, you also need 2 lengths of 8 mm rod for the ring, and also binding wire as well. Now, apart from the 8 mm rod for the rings, then and also the binding wire, you will also be needing 4 bags of cement for these pillars. So, because for you to cast one pillar, you need two bags of cement. To cast the second pillar, you also need 2 bags of cement, making a total of 4. Now, when it comes to cement, for you to now get the total number of cement needed to fence this one plot of land, you have to calculate the 35 bags of cement for the settings, then 9 bags of cement for the blinding, which is total of 44. Then you add this 4 bags for the pillars, which is total of 48 bags of cement. So approximately, to be on the safe side, you budget 50 bags of cement to fence this land right round. Now, apart from the fencing, if you also want to plaster, you should also be able to know the number of cements that can be able to plaster this 36 meters, plaster this side, plaster it right round. You should be able to understand it. And if the land is in a corner piece, corner piece is a place whereby you have road here and you also have road like this. That means if you plaster inside right round, you should also plaster the front and also plaster this side. So if you want to plaster this right round, in here we do have about 12 partitions on the left side, 12 partitions on the right side, 6 partitions here. Then coming to this place, we have about 4.5 partitions. So for you to also plaster this right round, you need plus or minus 15 tons of plastering sand. 15 tons of plastering sand can plaster. And now, when it comes to the cement for the plastering, you should also calculate, because 1 bag of cement have to plaster at least 1.5 partitions of this wall. So if we have 12 partitions here and we have 12 partitions here, now let's calculate it. If we have 12 here and one bag can be able to plaster 1.5, that means 2 bags will plaster 3 partitions, 4 bags will plaster 6 partitions, 6 bags will plaster 9 partitions, 8 bags will plaster 12 partitions. So for you to plaster one side of this fence, you need 8 bags. Second side, you need 8 bags, which is 16. Then this particular 18 meters, you need 4 bags, which is 20. Then coming to this front here, because this one is no longer 18, if you remove the gate, you have about 13 meters. And for you to plaster this 4.5 plus or minus, you need 3 bags of cement. So when you have 8 plus 8, 16, plus 4, 20 plus 2, plus or minus, you need about 23 bags of cement to plaster this inside wall. And you need another 3 to plaster this front, which is 26. So if the land is not on a corner piece, where there is road like this, or like this, and like this, then you know that 26 bags supposed to plaster the inside, right front and the front. But if it's in a corner piece land where there is road at the front here, either left side or right side, then you should be able to know that apart from the 26 that will plaster the inside and this front, you should add another 8 bags again that will plaster either the left side or the right side. So making it the total of 32 bags of cement for plastering. So for you to generally fence this land and plaster it, you need the total number of 50 for setting and 32 for plastering, which is 82 bags of cement. You need 82 bags of cement. You need 2,460 blocks. You will need 3 lengths of either 12 mm iron rod or 16 mm iron rod. Then you also need 2 lengths of 8 mm iron rod for the rings. Why I decide to start from this fencing is the one that will be very, very much easier for you to understand. And this fencing, as I said earlier, based on a normal solid ground, because when you want to build on a soft soil like waterlogged area, it's not always the same. Because if you want to fence any land on the waterlogged areas, we don't use blocks. Most times we do what is called only rafting, and in most cases we may even do what is called piling. So if the water there is much, we have to pile the foundation, then do the rafting before setting blocks. But that one is another topic for another day, because I know a lot of people will be saying, what about if you are building a waterlogged area? Or some people might misunderstand me. So that's why I'm trying to make everything very much clear here. If you are building in a solid ground, this is what you need. And if you are aware of these materials now, it will be very much easier for you to calculate 2,460 blocks. How much can it cost? Then 82 bags of cement, how much is it? 3 lengths of iron rod, how much is it? The plastering sand, how much is it? The shaft sand, how much is it? The 2 tons of granite, how much? So it will be very much easier for you to know the exact amount you need to execute this project. But if you are not aware of it, you may end up spending more than what you're supposed to spend, especially if you fall into a wrong hand. Yes, because a lot of people are experiencing it. You are now aware of what it will cost to do this. In my next video, I will be explaining to you if you want to fence on a waterlogged area, which will call swamp area. I will tell you what you need to do first before this work will commence. Yes, because if you want to first on a soft soil area and you went ahead to maybe open the soil or blind and start to settle, at the end of the day, the whole thing will go down. So I hope I've been able to impart some of the knowledge I intend to let people know. I hope I've been able to educate you on this, and I hope I'm well understood. So if there's something you did not understand, please do wait to drop your message on my comment section, and I promise I'll get back to you. So see you on my next video. God bless you.